Hello, everybody. How are y'all doing? Yes, the bus is a little late, but that's okay. Had to do the state inspection, had the doctor visit.
Yeah.
So everything is good. There we go. I can hear myself loud and clear in my headphones. There's a voice from the past. So welcome, everybody. Thank you for
Well,
tuning in. This is a second look, and if you're here, then you have fulfilled your destiny. Congratulations. We just speak favor over you all. Nothing missing, nothing broken. Those words are important. They'll change your life. They will. So I'll get right into it because we were just a little bit late pulling out of the station, but it's all right now. Drinks are being served in the back, and if you got them, smoke them. It's all right. This is, it's kind of like, as long as you don't violate someone else's space, just, you know, hang
yeah.
out. So let me bring the two beautiful ladies that I have the privilege each week of being surrounded with, of their energy, their love, and friendship. Uh, Trina and Jenny. So, Miss Trina, how are you doing, my dear?
Oh, wonderful being on the bus with you all. It's just yay. Hi,
Seatbelts are
everyone.
optional, but we do suggest they may be something you want to think about. And Jenny, how are you doing? You're looking so beautiful as always.
Oh,
Both of you
thank
two.
you.
It's like, I'm
Mm.
standing in glory, light just
Oh,
shines on. What was that?
well,
What's that, sweetie?
I would always give the stage over to Trina. She's a gorgeous, gorgeous spirit, soul, and
Oh,
energy, and you are too.
oh,
I look
Well,
forward to each
thank you very
evening.
much, madam. Appreciate that.
mm.
I kind of look
Oh,
at
I
y'all
just so
like the
look
song.
forward to it.
What's that?
I just so look forward to it. Like you said, I so
Mhm.
look forward to the energy in the chat, the energy in the comments afterwards, and the energy that the Trinity
Mhm.
of us bring together.
Mhm.
It's glorious.
It
It's
is.
triune. It really is.
Yeah.
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 And, a three-steaded stool is, more stable than a four-steaded leg stool.
Yeah.
Anyway, I
Yeah.
Milk a
digress.
cow on those babies.
Power of that pyramid.
Exactly. Think about it. We've done that for a long time. So,
Mhm.
ladies, how are is y'all world? Is I hope it's doing good. You know,
It's good.
yeah. Anything
Yeah.
happened this week? Jenny, did you go on any other
No,
dates? I'm just asking for a
yes,
friend.
I did. I did. Well, asking for a friend, yes, I did. I'm finding it a funny concept to date, because all of a sudden I've put some energetic light on, something shifted, that I've said, open for business, whereas before I was very much closed. So there's some sort of etherical light gone on. So I'm
Yeah.
getting into this concept of it's okay to date, without any sort of other ties just now. So I'm just shopping. I'm shopping.
Yeah.
Hey, listen, there's nothing wrong with that.
Mm.
I can say this, and I'm probably speaking for a lot of guys in here that, are single. It's like, damn. Can I date Jenny? Well, I
Right.
don't know.
Your name on
Yes.
the list.
Location,
Put your name
location,
on
location.
the list.
Absolutely. Because, as a lady, you should have like good dinners.
Hmm.
Oh, I did. I did. I had like what you would call a scrumptious dinner. Um,
Mm.
really nice. The company was nice. So yeah, it's good. It's good, and I like that it's the first time in my adult life that I've actually had the opportunity to do this. Because,
Well,
getting
you're
out of a
well
very long time.
overdue.
Yeah, yeah. I had Rosie very young. I had Rosie so young, and I'm a faithful person. So if I give my loyalty to somebody, that
Hmm.
actually can be a problem for me because I'll stick to that loyalty longer than I should, really.
Yeah.
So he was my first boyfriend, and for a long time, anchor, in the nicest possible way. And then I was single for a while, but it was all on me and Rosie, just me and her time. Um, and then I met, the infamous narcissist that told taught me more lessons than anyone else might add, to take the good out of the bad. But I was loyal to that situation for over 10 years. So it means that, and then after that, there was the healing process. I was shut to everybody and all until I healed those things that needed to be healed, to not attract in that, or just have healthy boundaries to say to that again. And of course, putting love and healing into the children. So I've been dedicated to that for over 8 years. So really that takes up much of my time. So now I'm like, yeah, the light's on, enter if you dare.
Well, you get the endorphin dump, which is really good because when you're in that vibration, I call it the anything is possible type vibration, because relationships, they hold great possibility, and that possibility can go in any different direction. But you said something earlier that I thought was interesting, that you said in the worst relationship you had, you learned the most.
I was an empath in the dredges. I was an empath, intuitive, healer in the subworld of a narcissist who refused to heal but wanted to constantly stitch up wounds of his own by, creating wounds, physical and spiritual, in me. And so it is that you can heal the physical scars. You can live with the lasting physical scars. The tethers to the mind that the scars that are in the mind, that are tethered to the physical, last a lot longer, and you do need to work on those neural pathways to create a different pathway to what you've been existing in, which is survival mode as an empath intuitive. That is just a recipe for disaster. But in all disasters, I'm pretty good at finding, where can I heal with this? I've realized I couldn't heal him. I couldn't do anything for that. That wasn't the right thing to do. The only thing is where I can heal. So some of the most atrocious things that I won't mention the name of, you can say, but you shouldn't ever victim blame. It's the opposite. I had to say to people, stop saying poor Jenny, stop saying I feel sorry for you, stop it. And that I had to really put that boundary up early, recognizing that I can't be seen as a victim in this. These are my wounds, and I'm going to be a warrior with them. I'm going to go through those veins and those scars in my mind and heal them. And the only way I can do that is by gaining new gifts and new wisdoms to not create the same scars again, to not attract in that same energy again. And
That kind of
yeah.
it's a form of vampirism. When you
Yes.
have individuals that feed, particularly, with empaths, intuitives, those who have a higher degree of what we would call the sixth and seventh senses, so to speak, and they're here, then they feed off of that energy, because that energy it's highly energized, and it becomes something akin to an addict.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I had to realize that as well, part of the wisdom of, and it was old wisdom I felt coming back in my DNA as time went on, that people would say, you're not dating, you should get out there. And it's been like 6 years. And I'm like, 6 years is a flash in the pan, in the happy state that I'm in, working on myself without any interference from the outside coming into my inside, in the home and literally, and being vampiric with it, financially, spiritually. Once that vampirism starts, it leaks into every sphere of life. It also is vampirous against relationships, because you get cut off from people deliberately, and you cut yourself off then. And part of my healing was to recognize my energy. And something I've said for a long time is, if I disturb your demons, you're welcome. You can gain a lot from that. Part of my demons were
Mhm.
people pleasing, and that came from certain
Mhm.
abuses that I'd suffered. And part of my demons were that I had to recognize that people might say, oh, she's so wonderful, she's so kind, but actually that is putting myself out there on a bird table as vampirous food, come and bite me, and that actually, with the wisdom that I have, is counterintuitive to my karma and my dharma, because I know that I've got the capacity to disturb demons, even in the nicest of people. My energy, my resonance can do that. And usually people can take it for good. Narcissists take it for bad and they just take another bite, but you're actually creating more demons and more dharma for them, more karma through their dharma. So you have to take account of that. And that's the only way you can start to feel warrior-like in self again, when you've been through that, for sure.
Dating sucks. It's just, I mean, I've been married for such a long time that the thought of dating, um, I don't think I'd do it, to be candid with you.
I don't do it a lot.
Yeah, I mean,
It's
it's like I
stupid.
was at the doctor today, and you can't have conversations of any meaning because
Mm,
the people out there, their heads are just not there. And they can't handle it. Um,
yeah.
yeah, and unfortunately, we all seek out companionship. I
Mhm.
mean, I I was a bachelor for over 20 years. I was perfectly happy living with myself. I mean,
Mhm.
Yeah,
I
I
enter
like
I,
me.
yeah, I entertained myself with myself.
Mhm. Me too. I'm so content on my own. I still have my daughter with me though, so that's, you're never alone when you have a kid around, but
Yeah.
she's not a kid anymore, but why live away from each other when it's better together, you know? It's like an agreement. So, yeah, it just works. It's very peaceful. It's very wonderful. Yeah.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah.
And Nina says she lives single as well. Hello, everyone in the chat room. Thank
Hi,
you,
everyone.
all of y'all, all the moderators. Many of you I consider moderators, but all of you. So thank you. So good to see. Brenda's in there. Street Mom, how are you doing, my dear? Good to
Um,
see you. And Deborah, Mary Wins, loved
yeah,
ones. Deborah Sloan,
Deborah.
Chris, good to see you as
Hmm.
well, hon. Rick, Emperor Rex, Sherry, my Chevrolet Amor.
Hmm.
I got a little Stevie Wonder. We were listening to George Strait
Hmm.
there before we came
Yes,
on.
we
I mean,
were.
we
Yes.
like our George Strait. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't care what anyone
And
says.
our Brooks and Dunn.
And Brooks and Dunn, Ronnie and
Mhm.
Kicks.
Trina,
A
who
little
who's
Reba.
Brando?
Who's what?
Who's Marlon Brando?
Oh,
Oh,
he's
the
that
actor,
famous, yeah,
the
actor, and
Godfather.
yeah, he's
Yeah.
older,
His
wonderful
name
guy.
has kept coming to me like for 3 days. I didn't know who he was. I knew the name was famous. I
Hmm.
presumed it was American, and I
Yes.
don't know why.
There's a movie with Matthew Broderick, Penelope Miller, and Marlon Brando called The Freshman. And it was one of the last movies that he did, and it was a satire on his role as the Godfather. And if you folks have not seen it, go and see it. You can rent it or whatever, it's out there. And he has that famous line in there. He says, Clarky, you know why I know that you'll never betray me? Because you're not a snake. You're not a snake in the grass.
I
And
wouldn't
then the
betray
final line he has in there,
him.
the character Matthew Broderick is playing, uh, he says, well, Marlon Brando makes he says, listen, I'll be out there. And he says, are you telling the truth? And he said, Clarky, everything I say by definition is the truth. Great line. Think about that. Everything you say, Trina, by definition is the truth.
Hmm.
Yeah. Anyway,
Yeah.
uh, yeah, it is about the big lizard too. So
I'm
anyway,
gonna watch
The
it.
big
you'll love it.
lizard.
You'll love it. Apocalypse Now. I mean, that was a really dark role for, I think, um, you know, I have a relative who's now passed, but Rod Steiger. In fact, he turned down the role that for Patton.
Wow.
Okay.
We look at it now, how history now defines it. But anyway, yeah.
It's
So,
interesting how they
Um,
changed the stories.
oh, isn't it though? I mean, Colleen, you
Mhm.
sent me something this morning, which, we're about to celebrate the 4th of July here, right? Maybe the last one. But here's the thing. The celebration of the 4th of July is a complete myth. You see, we see the paintings of the one, and Colleen, it was great information you sent to. Thanks, son. We all see this painting that's hung in the Capitol building of all the signers. In fact, if you have a $2 bill, that's that painting on the back. The thing about it is, that's fiction. It never happened. The Declarations of Independence, all the signers were never gathered in one place. It took almost a year and a half to get the Declaration of Independence signed by all the signees. So Americans, and by the way, so it was never on July 4th. It was actually, I think that is the article point, John Adams, it was July 2nd.
Mhm.
And so we here in America, we celebrate this day that never happened. It's made
they
up.
have, oh, don't they? They have form for that, like keeping us at odd days, don't they? So it's
Yeah,
interesting. They've shifted the days a couple of days, like they have everything else
just,
in the calendar,
you know.
just shift it on a bit to help the financial sector and whatever else. But it's the same as the Fed, isn't it? Like that's a precarious thing. And
Mhm.
doesn't what you just mentioned give Americans a lot of feeling like they've got something to protect them? Is that right? Um, like the Constitution, there's certain protections with
Yeah.
this, isn't
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
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 in there,
We
but
have
they don't.
it's the Bill of Rights, you know.
Right.
Yeah. Article 1, Article 2.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah. And it's interesting when you think about this. So, Jenny, you're in the UK, and the UK has been, well, we've got records all the way from Roman, you're an occupied nation of the Romans. I mean, so
Mhm.
it's a long-lived nation. The United
Yeah.
States will probably never see 300 years of independence. If
Oh
things
no.
continue the way that they're going, we're going to be we're already there, but in a full-fledged civil war. And that's why the title of this thing is, keeping it together, because they're going to, it's just amazing to me. I was telling this to Lynn yesterday. I said, it's if it makes it, the feeling is becoming more pronounced that we're living in a episode of the Twilight Zone.
A
There's
Black
things that
Mirror.
we've been taught that we know. And for instance, we have unfortunately a leader in this country who is he's his brain it's not, it's cognitively declining. It's dementia.
Yeah.
And normal people, I don't care where you are in the country, would never say, let's get someone who is in full stage dementia with sundowners. Let's make sure that that person is our leader. No sane group
Mhm.
of people, whether you're right, left, middle, up, down, wherever, would come together and say, sure, that sounds like a good idea.
Well,
Right.
it's to the
That's insane.
It is insane. Thank you. You get the gold star.
It's
It is
insane.
insane.
Absolutely insane. In this state of where we're at with the nation, I mean, literally, this is insanity. We need a strong protector and leader right now. And boy, he can't do either one of those.
I mean, we study magic
Protect their
here.
leader.
We
Sad.
study the right path, we study the left path. And from my occultage point of view, this is black magic. This is there is a spell that is at work here.
yeah.
Yeah, I feel bad for him. I mean, he needs to go and be taken care of. I mean, this is like wrong on so
But
many levels. I'm like,
it,
this
it,
is
it,
just
and
wrong.
how you hear the rhetoric on both sides. I
Yeah.
mean, it's I'm telling you, as an occultist, this is a spell. Because again, normal people would not allow this to happen.
No, well, it would be deemed, like Trina says, as aged cruelty.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's an offense. It's an offense.
Really
On
is.
all,
And again, we wouldn't do that. If you did that to your grandparents or your parents,
No,
you'd be
no.
arrested.
That's right.
that's what.
That's right. That's right.
You would be up on
Pushing them up
felony
on the
charges.
stage and letting them fall down and getting hurt and not knowing where they're at. No, that's not okay.
No.
No. It's like it's sad. It's really sad. I mean, he's declining and it's sad, but
Oh, it's
it
very,
is what it
very
is.
sad.
And for them to want to continue to put him in the front like that, it's not right.
No. And the thing about dementia, and
It's sad. He
unfortunately,
doesn't even know.
yeah, he's in late
Doesn't know.
stage dementia.
Yeah,
And here's the thing, doctors will tell you that you don't put those type of patients in stressful situations.
exactly.
So
Yes,
guys,
that's what I
only
mean.
in
This is so
when
not
Barack
right.
went
Yes.
into office, I was there in Denver in his coronation. Barack Obama went in as a young, vibrant young man, full of life
Yeah,
and energy. When he came out of that 8 years later, he was white-headed.
I know.
The same
I
thing
noticed
happened to
that
Clinton.
too. Yeah,
Yeah.
I
Um,
noticed that too.
it ages you.
Stress.
And we live in a day now, the world is so unstable. It's just becoming, um, you know, there are things happening in our military domestically that now have got people asking themselves, what's up? Something's up. And that's my point to this. We're not talking politics. What we're talking about is the fact that we're supposedly sane society, that we hold people accountable. You know what? Yesterday we had this huge decision that was actually really it's going to impact, the freaking Constitution. It never had been discussed before. And we're not going to get into the minutia of that. But the point is that was a trigger. And again, as a cultist, I'm watching this and I'm watching the reaction. And this is what a spell does. It causes people to react in a way that they would normally not act. That's a spell. And
If you
It's
you have,
manipulating thought to produce some
yes,
stuff.
yes, you
Yeah.
have people, sane people now, they're threatening, well, they should kill Trump, or they're saying that Trump's going to kill this. And I'm going, this is crazy talk. This is
That is
not
crazy
talk
talk.
of normal people.
No.
That was the whole point of the title of the show, because we live in, as we know in Hermetics, the Hermetica, that it teaches in the Kabbalion that there in the seven principles, there's a cause and effect. And if we continue to see this effect that's happening, it's going to be causation for things that they're, whether you want to say it's a split, a division, a bifurcation,
Mhm.
whatever it is, it's designed to it's designed to divide us.
Yeah.
So
Hmm.
that to me is one of the most powerful, if you want to say magic exists, and I do believe it does, because magic is mental. So anyway, and I know you experienced it over there in your country. I mean, your country
uh,
is facing the thing with King Charles. I mean, it looks like he may not be a monarch for very much longer.
well,
There's a curse.
that was always predicted. The church I went to as a child, there was quite a good pastor there who was actually a psychic. But he was
I can see
prophesying.
that. Thank you,
He was
Jenny. That's a good
prophesying,
show.
just
Yeah,
a
psychic and
different
pastors.
label. Yeah, it was just a different label. He was prophesying, and he said when he becomes king, he won't be king for long. And to be honest, I heard that when I was like 10 years old. So I've always
Hmm.
known that from him because he was always quite accurate.
So he said
To
that
be,
in his own life.
yeah,
Right? Is that why, you think about that? That's profound. So he prophesied his own demise.
yeah. No, no, this prophet from this church
Oh,
said
from the
when king,
church.
Yeah.
he won't
Okay.
The
long.
preacher.
He'll,
Okay.
yeah, the pastor, yeah, yeah. But he wasn't doing intuitive readings or anything, he was just being a prophet.
Let's do some tarot as you're giving out the sacraments,
I did that in
Oh,
fact
let's see, you got the death card. Well, it sucks to be you. Next.
right now. But yeah,
Oh,
that's
come
where
on.
it comes
That would be a
down.
perfect Saturday Night Live skit. I mean, come on.
Yeah,
That would be so
yeah,
sacrilegious. You got the,
yeah.
okay, I'm sorry, Jenny. I'm sitting there seeing the preacher going, uh-huh, oh, you got the hermit crap. Anyway.
While the crowd throws dollars at him on the stage. Dance for us, dance.
And the other
You
ones are
know,
running out of the building. Demon!
yeah. They just get the tithe box out at that point. That was like a reflex if there
So
was
I'm
money
seeing
around.
I'm seeing a Jack in a Box with the monkey going.
It was like that in the congregation for
Uh,
sure. He could have said anything. But what he
Continue,
did say
Jenny.
is accurate, and
Hey, Chloe.
the script that is being followed for the last 10 years, but particularly the last 5 years, has been if United States is anything, it's built on still far too much British customs. Um, still, I find it
Mhm.
sacrilegious that there's so many places in your area that I get confused at by addresses that are exactly the same as ours. Like Berkshire, Shropshire, things like that are still so, and it's like we are America. America is us, and we have proxy arms that we're putting around all around the world. And the script is becoming psychotic. It's becoming self-eating. And so yeah, there's huge changes coming, and the world is saying no. I mean, Kenya is saying no right now to France having a new financial bill that they've had for so many years, and the people are saying no in their millions. And so there is an uprising, but the people who are still affected by the script, like you say, the right and left side, they are being infused with the psychotic behavior that knows no bounds. They don't know how to control it anymore, because you hear people saying things and you're saying, can you hear what you're saying? Because even if you took Biden and took the name Biden away, and we're looking at him in his situation, it doesn't do my karma or dharma any good as an intuitive to enjoy watching him because of what may be perceived in my eyes as what he's done in the past. That doesn't do me any good. It doesn't do the consciousness of anybody any good, no matter how bad somebody is, to will a torturous end
Well, I
for
won't
them.
watch it because it's a form of basically commending elderly abuse. I feel bad for the man. I really do.
Yeah,
I mean, I
and
would
everybody
not want to be
commending
there.
that. Yeah, everybody commending that is creating that energy within
Yeah.
themselves, and then projecting it out on the people around them. So it spreads like a cancer, this type of psychotic ideology that has become fanatic, to say the least. And we're in
And
that
that's
gray zone.
dangerous.
Yeah, 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 for sure.
I mean,
Super
you start
dangerous.
having, yeah, we've seen them in religion, but politics is as deep as a cult as any religious cult. And, when you separate yourself from that, you people look at you pretty strange, I guarantee, because I had that experience this morning. But the psychoticness of it, it's so divided, it's so polarized. There seems to be no middle ground.
No, no, there's no
I think that
conversation.
there is. It's just you don't see it as much because just like how we deal with not being seen anymore, it's like you get kind of hidden, and that's done on purpose. But I know that there's many aware like we are. There's many that are, and there's many right now that are starting to come into the awareness of it. So
I hope that
I
grows. I
see it.
hope it grows because,
I agree with that.
yeah,
I do.
because we do offer an alternative to this. Because if it continues to go down the road that it's going, this is going to become a religious war.
But
I mean, I'm already hearing that in their
consciousness.
circles that this
Yeah,
is
this
a
is
war.
what
This
they
is
want.
this.
Yeah.
I heard it yesterday. They very, high-ranking part of Trump's group went to prison, Steve Bannon. And what I was hearing, I looked over at Lynn. I said, "This is dangerous." When they start saying that this is a spiritual war against good and evil, wait a minute. So you're calling a person because of a certain idea or ideology. You're saying they're bad. They're demons or whatever. Wow. I mean, our past shows that that's how they started cutting people's heads off, hanging them, burning them at the
Absolutely.
stake.
Absolutely. But you know what, though? I also see on the opposite side of that, I see that they're trying to do that because this is what they've done over and over again.
Hey, it's
That's
not
what they
new. It's
know how to
nothing
do.
new here at all. Yeah.
Right. But it's like even like these Gen X kids, they're really concerned because they're not falling into this stuff. They are not buying into the religion. They're
Yeah.
just not available. They don't even, nope. So yeah, between that, because that's a big part of the energy on this planet that's going to be starting to drive the planet soon. It already kind of is. So when you look at all these energies and then the ones of us that are holding the more neutral place on it, because we're not holding the division, we're holding the unification of just seeing and observing all of it for what it is and saying what I would like to see, I'm going to project into the world. It's more powerful than we know.
Gaia
So
sent
we just
me an
keep on
email
keeping on.
of a musical group, Stick Figures, I think is what
Oh yeah, I love them.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And Gaia, thank you, dear. It is an honor to have you as a friend. Goddess Sabina, how you doing, darling? Anyway,
Absolutely.
I thought was so interesting about the song, and I like the song, but the crowd and the temperance of their spirit. And I'm looking at this crowd, and this crowd, you can see that there's this hunger. There's this
Yes.
hunger for the,
Spirit.
yeah, I was going to say spirituality. There is this
Yeah.
strong, and you can see it manifest within the song itself. So, yeah,
Yeah. There is
yeah.
that desire is getting stronger than the programs that were installed. And this is a
Hmm.
shift. And it's just, and like I said, these kids, they don't pull to the things that they can pull us with. It's very interesting, the dynamics of the energy that I'm seeing it's being created. And I hate to say it, that neutrality and that not giving a shit, Gen Z stuff, might serve us in a lot of good ways because they won't be
100%.
drawn into things. They're about what feels good to them. So
Hmm.
that's their main thing, is what feels good to me. So they're only going to go with what they think feels good. So
I was thinking as I was watching that, it's kind of what we had in the late 60s and early 70s and, until it became commercialized and, material and everything else.
and
But I thought
astrologically, Wayne, we're kind of in that same energy
that's what I
with
was going to
where we're
say. That,
at. Yeah.
yeah, that's what I was picking up. It seemed to
As
me to be
above,
almost a
so below.
revival.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
and revival is not a religious term. Revival is just that. It revives, you
Yeah.
know?
And this was the time astrologically that mimics the time of 1776.
Interesting.
It literally is. It's the only time in the last, what is it, since 1776 that we've had this specific where you've got Saturn and Pluto back in, because Pluto was present when we drafted the United States Constitution and stuff. That was all Pluto was present. So Pluto return only happens like every 249 years or something. So all of that is right now. It's
Well,
here
I've
again.
read that that's going to bring revolution, that that's what it does, that Neptune is in play, uh,
Yes, which is
that,
unexpected. Yeah.
yeah.
Deep mind
Imagine
subconscious.
one of those, which is like war, but war isn't always bad, for having a
Right.
spiritual. Then what Trina says is true. These kids are winning their own wars because they're seeking that inner child experience. They're not. I heard somebody today, a teacher in America, speaking about the fact that in some states they're going to really push down on the Bible being taught in school exclusively. And he said, but that might seem like a backtrack, a bad thing. But as a teacher, I can tell you, just like Trina says, these kids actually will ask questions and unpick these lies and these
Yeah.
distortions that are historical events. He said, so actually, don't worry about it. Let them push that law because actually, kids that would have never thought about the Bible, never thought how it's impacted them in history or in their politics, or how poor they are now and how they can't buy their own home like we used to. And all of that, they'll start unpicking it and saying, oh, so that's where the financial blueprint comes from.
You
Well,
know,
why did he, you
what
know?
else I see that's so monumental too? It's like we were growing up with Brady Bunch and, Fonzie and Happy Days and stuff like that. These kids have all been growing up with Harry Potter. So
True,
Yes.
get
true.
ready,
Yeah,
y'all. Get
yeah,
ready. Yeah,
yeah.
get ready. And these video games, they are so occult
Mm.
lined. So get ready.
Deep
Yeah.
occult lines. Holy crap.
You bet. I mean,
Well,
crap. You see black magic ceremonies right there on the video games. I'm like, holy crap. Wow.
if it's a portal, then the freaking floodgates are open, because you're right. There are some that I go,
And
wow,
all
this is like
all
advanced.
codes
Advanced
being built on
witchcraft
code.
and stuff. Yeah. Hmm.
A magician uses codes, and all games are built on coding and a language unto themselves. And I put out a
Yes.
prediction years ago. I think Gaia was on this one too, that I was saying that children were actually doing physical things in other parts
Yes.
of the world while
Yes.
flying drones,
Yeah.
and like that. And they've actually been doing military training on our children via the games. When
Yeah.
military recruitment has been dropping, the increase of violent games, and I looked this up when I got that prediction, went shooting up.
Yep.
The training kids, Will can shoot. He can shoot well. He can shoot the target well. He's never held a real gun, but he's got his pellet gun that he practices with in the garden. It's a hobby, takes it with him. It's non-lethal, and he's a good shot. He's a really good shot. And it's all because of the games that he's been playing. Or, my mum's a really good shot. She was always a good shot, but she's refined her shot from the games that she relaxes and plays. So I keep saying to them, you don't know what you might be doing somewhere else in the world, or even in another dimension. I spoke about years ago, and the other dimension seemed more prevalent than even this dimension. That kids were actively doing real physical things via a game, and that's being put out there
And
so
I
much.
did a show on this a couple of years ago. The fact that these games, I would say virtually 99% with no exaggeration, are all violent. There's
Yeah.
death, there's mayhem, there's
Mhm.
cruelty. Some of this borders on sadomaso type of thinking.
Yep.
Mhm.
Yep.
And so, I mean, I played
Like I
pinball,
said,
foosball, the only
right.
thing,
But
it's,
these kids have been trained in the dark arts.
yes,
Literally.
that's my point.
Literally.
It is, and
Yeah.
not even if they're even knowing it.
No.
I
Yeah,
mean,
but the ones that make the games, they've known it. They know. And see, they're the
well,
controllers of
yeah.
the system. So this goes pretty deep. So, but the thing is that literally, um, for them just to be brought into this existence and to have that kind of education when they're children, it's going to be a very powerful change on this planet. You won't be able to stop that. And I think that they did this for the demise, and it might backfire and it might go for the good because they're going to know how to utilize these things. And they're going to know the consequences of dealing with the darker energies
Well,
because
now think about
it'll
this.
hurt them.
So I did the video called "We Worship What," and it was like, almost 300 slides. But if you go back and you start looking at when these, particularly men, were born, when they came into this realm, these men later would be the pioneers. And I contend if they weren't wizards, then they were of an order. But
Hmm.
these small group of men were the core of where we get these games from. Now, you can't have these games because I ran a tech company. I know exactly what happens when you're looking for engineers to come in to write the programs. You know, listen, there has to be a script for them to go by to write the coding. You think
Yeah.
about this now, and this epiphany came to me about 5 years ago, and I went, "Holy fuck, we didn't even think about this. Who was writing the scripts?" there were occultists in there. They were, some of them, of a very dark nature.
Yes. NLP magicians.
Yeah, and you think about it. So they grow up with Harry Potter.
Yeah.
You know, you got that whole thing with Rollins,
Yeah.
and it opens up this whole that third eye begins to open. And
Mhm.
then you have the games that are even Halo, you know, one of these more popular games. It's still about killing other humans.
Mm.
I
Yeah.
mean, all right, so if we believe in the Hermetic philosophies, that what we concentrate on, what we focus on, is what we eventually create.
Yes.
Do you see where I'm going with this?
Hmm.
Yeah, the
At some
creative
point in
idea.
time, that manifests out in what we call society, the community.
Absolutely. Yeah.
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 Absolutely. You know, it's so funny. I was like, one of the things I was looking at today, and it was a question I had, was like, are we immortals? Are we sleeping in a simulation, a construct? What is a symbol of sleep? You know, it's a smiley face with the X's on its face. Think X plus YZ. So you sleep, the alphabet, the crossing, it's all in the mind, the consciousness, the subconscious mind, the X when we sleep. We are reinstalled into this simulation through the CSF, the cerebral spinal cord solutions. As Santa lives at the North Pole and slides down that chimney pole with the gifts or the coal, the burnt offerings. So the magnetic pole is this controlling factor for the simulation. It's the antenna to connect this world to the artificial intelligence. And then I was learning about Ohm's law.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. And like this is what's happening. The VIR, the virtual reality that we see, we're producing it lifetime in this reality. So it was amazing how we are working with light, magnetism, and water. Remember, we were talking about the soul, spirit. What's the
Mm-hmm.
difference? Been doing a lot of contemplating on that. I see the soul spirit complex are unified through a system of 7.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and
That
it's
would make
interesting.
sense on many levels, Trina, because
Yeah,
7 is
that's what I'm seeing. It's
well,
blowing my mind. There's a trinity above us. That's like the oversoul, monad, Christ consciousness, conscious field. That's higher light vibration. And it's that pyramid of power has the ability to filter down into the lower dimensions where you go into the chakra energy body systems, and the matrix of the soul magnifies and builds the body. They're showing me all this crazy stuff, but it was like, the first foundational part of you is the light, water, and the magnetism. They were showing me when fire and water hit, it creates a new point of light, and that must be the spark. So when the water and the fire hit, it creates that spark, and the spark hits the fields of the magnetism, which performs the laws of manifestation through the physical, through photons and atoms. And it was so beautiful what they were showing me. So this is all how we learn. And then they were talking to me about, you have 7 hearts that sit inside your brain, and you have 7 brains that sit inside your heart. And that makes sense because the 7 brains in the gut are the ganglia, the
yeah.
7 ganglia that run through the solar plexus channel. And then your heart, you've got the 7 different channels in the brain that connect to the 12 cranial nerve systems. So there's these 7s that sit within the 12s, all, and they all break down to trinities. So it's all starting with the 3, the principle of 3, which is the initial spark, which is fire. So we're learning to control these elements through consciousness, and these powers through consciousness. And when we can really learn how our body is operating on an energy level, that's when you can really start to manifest changes in the physical reality around you, because you become one with it. So we're building these blocks. These kids have already had all this magic brought into their video games. So we can kind of project this how we want if we decide to do that. It's just a matter of, do we believe we will, and do we believe we can, and will we do it? And if we attempt certain things, and if they don't come right away, know that it's not because we couldn't do it. It's just that we couldn't do it yet.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I
And
expect guy I saw that she said she has a nephew, I think, that is a programmer. Grew up on Star Wars. So,
What's so
and
that's
funny?
like,
The doctor just said, consider the vagus nerve. It's so funny. I'm getting ready to start to do some research on my vagus nerve, and I'm using TINS units to stimulate the vagus nerve. And I know vagus nerve protocols, cranial sacral therapy is one of my most favorite, and so is release point therapy. But the vagus nerve is magic, and you're right. That is a key to the 7 brains and 7 minds. Yeah. And when they
like,
say, yeah,
yeah,
when you can learn to feel with your mind and think with your heart, it's a polarity switch, and it really teaches you a lot if you can flip that. So everything's about learning the opposites, learning the reversals, putting them together in a unified field of awareness, which activates higher mind. And through the activation of higher mind, you literally can do anything because you're back one with the source creator field of consciousness, brings everything into existence. Everything.
everything. I
I
get
had a
Mhm.
that.
lot
And
when I
Theo said,
was, what's that,
sorry,
Jenny?
wait.
No, it's on.
Theo said something today, and he says it quite often. And the inner child is always has the most wisdom, because it has less attachments of the BS. But he said, "Oh, Mum, you suck," and I said, "No, I don't." And he said, "Opposites day, mother. It means you're awesome." And kids love that game, the opposites day. They play it all of the time because why? They'll say, "You don't love me," and Theo will say that because and I'll say, "Yes, I do love you." He says, "Yeah, I just wanted to hear it. It's opposites day," and so he says the opposite to what he knows is the truth, and he gets the truth that he wants back at him, in response. It's a really clever way of roasting somebody. He gets that energetic hit that he needs to be told that he's loved. Not that he's lacking in that at all, but he likes a little bit of excess. And so, you'll
Mhm.
pull your leg a bit with the opposites day thing. So that's magic in itself. And he's doing what Trina described, that tripod. The stool, but the trinity that you describe is the
Yeah.
strongest stool that you sit
Yeah.
on to milk a cow. The opposites day, he's doing that just by that game that he plays. He's getting
Uh-huh.
what his heart, by his mind working to see how I can get that back at me the quickest way possible. And he does it really well. And so, yeah,
Well, it's so
kids play.
funny too. When you look at the pyramid, it's a three structure. But when you turn it into a 3 and 4 dimensional structure, when you flip it over, it's a square.
Yeah,
So that's
foundation.
the blending of the 3 and the 4. So it's the base of the pyramid that can take on the frequency and bring it in to the power of the Trinity above it. It's the
And
connecting point. It's the 3 and the 4 coming together, but it's all through this pyramid. And literally, I've seen this so many times, y'all. This might be something you can go investigate in your own consciousness, but I've seen multiple pyramids on the planet. I've seen them all over, under the oceans, inside the earth, all over. And these are pyramids of power that are containing different aspects and different bodily entities, powers, soul power. It seems like it's a way they're harnessing the soul grid. So this might be something you might want to look into for your own uh, reconnection and redistribution of your own power.
if you're 4 and you're 3
Excellent.
there in the
Excellent.
pyramid gets the 7. You've got the 7 in the pyramid too with the 4 and the 3, haven't you? So the
Yes,
3 combined with the foundation of the 4 creates the 7, which
foundation.
is the spiritual
Yes,
bridge in Norse mythology.
yes,
In esoteric mythology, 7 is the spiritual bridge of bringing things into manifestation, isn't it? It's also the place that's known as chaos and confusion. But where there's chaos and
yes,
confusion, creation's born, and we can
yes.
how that gets created. And one thing about the kids gaming is, yes, I think there's terrible intent in it, and they're using that data really well with especially connecting with CERN and these children hearing these frequencies everywhere with the towers everywhere, frequencies that our ears didn't need to hear when we were little. There
Mhm.
wasn't as much an outside noise when we were little. Now lights make a noise when you plug them in. I can hear them. They disturb me. But these kids are actually also connecting. Will has friends from Canada that he's had since he was 4, which we both used to take turns, the parents listening, to make sure nobody infiltrated their little group. It was when they were playing Minecraft. And so these kids love each other, yeah, and they've never seen each other physically, but they know each other's voices, that both of their voices have broken together. And, that's nobody can create a war between them. And so that's where the strength lies too, as well as the weakness, that these kids are building communities that we don't even know about that are strong. They're really strong.
Yeah. And it's so amazing and beautiful because we've been in a dark age for so long and the energy was permitted to be strong. And now it's shifting, and it's beautiful because you see all the kids coming in and all the exposure, and then you can see how powerful they are. They're trying to put, the diapers on them when they're little, and it's because they know what's
Yeah.
coming. And it's a beautiful thing. And it only takes a small amount of benevolent, loving, intentional light manifesting on this planet, and it just wipes out so much of the negativity. It's just like when you bring a candle into a dark room, it doesn't matter how small the flame is, it still changes the whole room and it fills it with light. So just
Warm.
know that as a metaphor for your power.
Absolutely.
Great hope. One would hope.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
because if this generation, we were talking about the Xers,
Hmm.
and what is it? The next one after that is it the Zoomers? Generation Z?
I always lose
Yeah,
track.
we had
If
XYZ, and then we had alpha and then
the
beta.
alphas are after 2000, I thought.
Yeah, after. Yeah.
Maybe, I don't know. Anyone in the chat room know when that is? Because it's those that typically come into their early 20s that, so much is being defined, I think, for those who are seeking. I mean, I remember for myself that, it was a time of you're drawn to that aspect of that spiritualness. And yeah, I
Oh,
hope that
Trina,
is the case. What's that?
7, 14, and 21. The 7 multiplied, we celebrate those times. Somebody said, give me a child till they're 7 and I'll show you the man. Somebody
Yeah.
famous that I know that quote from. And then 14 is the age where we know bodies change dramatically for puberty.
Yes.
And 21, we celebrate as adulthood, where they're back to the 3 with the 2 and the 1. So that tracks too, as well, both
And isn't
physically.
that a Saturn return every 7 years?
Yes, yes,
There you
yes.
go. That's what's controlling that time clock. It's Saturn. There you go.
7. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yep. Yep. That's the Saturn in you doing its Saturn thing. But you got to understand, you have all the planets in you. And that's another
Absolutely.
thing that they keep showing me. They're like, if you only could truly see, it was just like you saw the crystals coming out of Wayne's body.
Yeah.
Those are all his points of consciousness that he's earned and worked with and assimilated in his being. So those crystals are all packets of code information. So, like I said, that's his connection to Saturn and Venus and Mars and all the planets in the system and all the other systems that he's potentially connected to. And all of
Absolutely.
this information is integrating in us to an awareness level where we can actually tap into parts of it. You'll never get all of it. Your brain would explode. Trust me, you don't want to do that. It'll throw you out of balance. But what you
Yeah.
need is now completely going to be available because you have an awareness of how to look for it, how to find it, and how to achieve the wisdom of it. So this is going to change everything. It's a process, but it will definitely start to change our world.
And doesn't the Thunderbolt Project, got them, they have that
Hmm.
movie they put out, Alien Sky. It's thinking about Saturn. So there are records of a time when the sun was not the sun. It wasn't, we
It's
weren't in orbit of
Saturn.
it. It was
Yeah.
Saturn. And
Yeah.
that it had
Mhm.
apparently us, or a version of us, we we would be considered almost blind today because the light that came off of Saturn was of a light of a nature that wasn't like this light. They
No,
called
it was
it the
like,
true light.
Yeah,
yeah.
and they said it was golden,
Yes, a
right?
golden light. Yeah.
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 Hmm.
Yeah. Wow.
Yep.
And I
And
wonder
what
then
does
if it's
Saturn rule in the body? The mind.
yeah. I
The
mean,
mind. Yeah.
so it's odd
The Lord
because,
of the
the
Rings.
sun is, you think it's this central point, but it's really not. Once again, of a time that was different, was it Saturn that was the central point? And if it was, then what type of beings were inhabiting Saturn? I mean,
Yes.
today it's speculated that there is a freaking portal that has been actually captured that, from Saturn itself.
I would
Isn't that where
assume that.
Yaldabaoth lives? Doesn't he the god of Saturn?
I've heard that.
Yaldabaoth?
It could be the consciousness of the
This is
demiurge
where
that
Yahweh
controls.
actually lives. This is his origin, his home.
I could be very,
I
very
mean,
accurate.
I
I think
somewhere in the
so.
back of my mind, it's saying,
No, I think that sounds, I've read a lot of information to support that. Yeah, I
yeah,
think that's accurate. And that would be, the foundational energy of the construct, because it's one of the strongest rulers. It controls the mind. So Saturn affects the mind. So with that, that's going to be your biggest influence in this system, is going to be what's running through Saturn.
and then
So
I
yeah.
always think of Saturn, and then you have the destruction of Mars, you have the destruction of Tiamat, um,
And
and
all of those fractals of consciousness are cells in your body with an awareness of that event. That's how you
yeah,
have the whole thing. That's why the life is in the blood. It's the recording of all the experiences in this universe, and it's all inside of you. So you have access to any of it. You just have to have the right question and the right direction to open it, to unlock it, because it's all in there. It's all in there.
what was that movie, I, Robot? I'm sorry, I cannot respond to the right question.
Right. I cannot respond
Well,
to the
then what the
question.
fuck's the right question? That was the right question.
That's right. That's right.
I love this.
Yeah.
Rick says this planet is glitching. There's a lot of truth to that, Rick. I really do believe that. I mean,
There's a lot of evidence to
so
support
if
that
it was
too.
that way at one time, nothing stays the same. So I
Yes.
can't help but not think, is there something yet that would come back? And let's just say, like my thesis yesterday, let's say right now we're at a balance. Our solar
Mhm.
system, the universe, our planet. And the only way it can get back into balance is to be where it was at one time. So if a pendulum swings one way, it eventually has to swing with the other with the same type of inertia that was holding it back. I don't know. I mean, if could the planet live without the sun? I
You
think
know,
so.
there's a lot of talk that, the planets have changed positions,
They
and one of
have,
those
all of them have.
planets,
Yeah.
yeah, one of the
Yeah.
planets in the Goldilocks blew up and got destroyed, and that made the asteroid belt and yada,
Yeah,
yada, yada.
Tiamat and
Yeah, and then they're
Marduk.
saying eventually we're going to be moved out of the Goldilocks and Venus will be in the Goldilocks.
And Venus is
So
not a planet, it's a comet.
correct, but they're
Yeah,
saying that's next in line for the Goldilocks reign, so it will probably be terraformed.
which is
So
the
it's
divine.
really, yeah, and that's a process of involution and evolution. It's kind of like this system, because it's in duality. It's in a process of breath, in and out, and that's the contraction and the expansion of the entire system. Like I said, if you want to try to figure out what we're in, look at it as a macro being of your body, your processes, your consciousness, your ability to manifest, your ability to create, imagine, dream, move. Consciousness is in all of this. It's just consciousness also takes the form of what it's embedded into. So there's a higher consciousness that never even enters into the darker layers that we're connected to, that are denser, but this consciousness is everywhere. So we actually have access to all of it through our consciousness, because in actuality, it's all the same source.
Hmm.
It's a field.
This is
It
where the
permeates
magic
all of it.
climate, I feel, in that they're pushing that in the UK so badly, and it's basically a poor man's tax in so many ways. They've got cameras everywhere, charging vans £17 to go through a tiny tunnel because their van isn't electric, even though their van is much more economical and better for the environment. No lie, we can't go into my city centre now without paying each day paying entry money if we don't have a brand new electric car. And it's called the ULEZ, and it's basically a poor man's tax, or somebody who actually doesn't want people mining that shouldn't be mining for the electric battery components. You're going to be taxed for your moral compass. And so for me, that is magic as well, in that it's claiming what they want to happen, in that people, you've got two divides. You've got people absolutely denying that there's climate change on one extreme, and other people wanting to punish just their fellow people for not believing in this astronomical, terrible climate change that's going to happen. And in the middle grey area, you're looking, and I keep thinking about readings I put out years ago again to say all this climate change catastrophizing magic is basically making us make the weather happen, make it look stormy. Our consciousness is connected to the sun, it's connected to Mars, it's connected, just like Trina has said. And if they can manipulate us to be in fear of the very weather that we should serve, that we should be connected to, and breathe in and breathe out, like Trina said, then we will actually do the work for them, or the people on the two extremes will do the work for them to bring that about. And so, and that's where you see the magic and the hallucinations in weather control. They manipulate the
It's so
circumstance.
funny. When you look at this from a bigger place, you look at, okay, their weather control. Well, how do you think they figured that out? Because we know we stopped hurricanes.
Rain dancing.
That's what I mean. It's everything is an imitation of what we already are. So
yeah,
that's the key. It's like we need to really start to take some control over, the weather, and, start focusing energy into calming the storms and making effects, because we really can do this. And this is our number one job right now, is to be that lighthouse and anchor these energies and really make the changes where you can, and add energy to groups that are doing the work, and give your love and support and intention to be of assistance to that. This is what we will do.
but Trina, Wayne, can I please go and get Theo? Because Trina, you've just said something. You're so connected to Will and Theo. You are. I know you are.
Sure. Yeah.
What you've just said there is crazy real to me. Just wait 1 second, please. I beg of you. Honestly.
That's so funny. Yeah, I do. I see these kids starting to look up at the skies and telling the storm to settle down, and they just do it.
Yeah.
They just like, it's so easy for them, Wayne. We struggle, man, but they don't.
Hey, it's Theo.
Yeah, it is.
Hello, Theodore. How are you?
Hi, Theo.
I want you to tell Wayne and Trina and everybody in the chat. Look, there's Susie Q, Gaia. I want you to tell them how you've controlled the weather this week. No, you want me to tell them? Okay. Well, Theo, you know how his hay fever can be quite bad, and asthma. We had real flushes of heat, didn't we? And it was lovely and sunny. But on the walk to school, he said, I'm going to control the weather today, Mum. And he prayed to the goddesses of nature on the way to school to say, didn't you? To say, please, for the love of the goddesses, control this weather and give me some rain, give me some cloud. And immediately he got into school and nobody could believe that the weather changed dramatically. And then he told his head teacher, didn't you? And she said, Theo, please, will you manifest some different weather this weekend while I'm off work? And of course, he did. And the weather changed. He couldn't believe it. He just couldn't it like that. I mean,
I just told Wayne, I said, these kids will be able to look up at the sky and tell it what to do, and it'll listen. I literally just said that.
Bonded. And I'm talking about showers that came out of nowhere where everybody's dressed in their summer best, going. Yes. Stop, and it was stopping. He just wanted enough dampness to stop the pollen. And so you did that this week, didn't you?
Don't look at my hair.
Theo, you are not alone, but I'm so glad that you know that you can do this, because you'll show so many others that they can too. Because when you can show them they'll believe that they have the potential to do it too. So you're going to be a powerful leader with this information of how we can work energy. Because Theo, I've seen other kids do it too. So you're not alone. And we've done this in groups. So we know this is real. So thank you for doing that.
What do you say,
It's a
Trina?
powerful principle.
Yeah, it is.
It's just so, as he's been a bit shy now because he hasn't been on with you guys for a while, but it's so powerful because with no chagrin, he told everybody at school what he was doing and absolutely showed them, like you said, Trina, you know, as a leader, he showed them that I can stop the rain for you for the playground time, but I want it to start again.
I love this.
Yeah, we are that connected to these elements, and that's what they keep trying to show me right now. It's like you guys really need to learn how to control the elements, and you need to work with what you live in, work with the earth, work with these things, because it is your strongest connection to this whole experience. It's through what's beneath our feet and the power that she gives us through our physical body being manifested from earth. Because we are of earth.
He
Yeah.
just unquestionably knows, and I love that. I love that. But when you said that, Trina, I had to go and get him because it was so accurate to what he's
It's
actually
so
done.
powerful.
It's spot on.
Yeah, I keep seeing that these kids are going to be, they are going to be, you know, when everybody talks about the second coming and the Jesus is returning.
Yeah.
It's them. It's them. It's them. And we're going to show them how to do it. And they're going to be like, oh, easy peasy, lemon squeezy.
Yeah.
John Price says, Theo, help us out in Texas.
Yeah. What do you need in Texas? Some rain, I bet. Do you need some? We'll send some rain to Texas, shall we? Let's do it now. Okay.
And calm the tornadoes. They've been getting so much weather and so much destruction, and they've got that Cat 5 hurricane coming at them right now. Yeah. Corpus Christi's on target to get hit with that, I think. So I think it's to calm the storm of the hurricane.
Man,
I'll work with you. I'll work with you too, Theo.
I love this.
Yeah, we're working here all together as a group. Well done. We've sent that, John. Let us know. Let us know.
Man,
we sent a rain cloud over you.
You cut my hair so short that I can't even make it even now. It has to be hair on one side.
Okay, yeah, well, that was
it looks good though, Theo.
But that's a powerful principle, Leo. It goes back, you know, I was taught, this is, of course, you know, scripture, but, you know, scripture is man-made to begin with. But it says, if you would say to this mountain, be you cast up and thrown into the sea, and not doubt in your heart, but believe that those things for which you have prayed and asked, you shall have those things.
Yes. Yes.
So
motivated that.
It's a powerful principle that most adults, Theo, do not believe. They can quote it, they can talk it, but they can't walk it. You walk it,
that's why
man.
we had to just get out of the age of Pisces, because Pisces taught us how to believe in things outside of ourselves. It gave us a connection to the spiritual realm, but now we're transferring into I know. It's no longer I believe, it's now I know. And I know I'm part of this, and I know I can do this, and I know I am one with this. And I know that I am, and that I am is a part of all that is.
Yeah.
See?
And he is in Aquarius, so he's coming into
wow. See? Even having the beginning sign that starts it all makes everything better and new again.
Bring it on.
Yes. That's wonderful.
I love it. Theo, you just keep practicing that, and my little man, you will become a powerful, powerful force.
Magic.
For sure.
Yes.
For good as well, for good. He's got such a good heart, haven't you?
That's what I mean. I do. I see the kids that have come in, they're here for this challenge. They're here to manifest in this world, and they're going to show people how it's done. And I think it's just fabulous. And I can't wait to watch and be a part of it.
Theo, come back on. We'd love to have you.
Yeah.
at
Tell us about more of your cool stuff that you're doing, because that's just brilliant.
See in the chat, Susie Q something.
Oh, can he tell Susie Q something? He
Sure.
says.
Yeah, absolutely.
Mike.
I'm not a Gen X. I was born in 2015, so I am Gen Alpha.
Gen Alpha.
Gen
Yeah.
Alpha.
Right
There we
on.
go.
See, the
Thank
alpha.
you.
Really
Thank
cute,
you,
Theo.
Leo.
I love it.
Wow. Far
Yeah,
out.
Gen Alpha.
Gen
Okay.
Alpha. I
He
like
says,
that.
bye, love you all. Sorry, I was talking over him. He says,
Theo, we
bye, love
love you,
you all.
man.
Yeah. Thank you, Theo. Yeah,
He's
he's
just,
a
Wow.
dog.
Wow. Jenny,
Wow.
what a fabulous
He's the
gift.
alpha.
oh,
I
So I
he
like
is.
told
that.
you these new kids, it's going to be amazing. And they've all had this foundation, and even the ones before them, the kids that are in their 20s, they've all been playing these games for a long
Yeah.
time. So they're
But even
very
this
familiar.
chat.
Yeah, they're very familiar with taking themselves into a different reality. I mean, this is all just supernatural to them. So this is going to be
Yeah.
very fun and exciting and a little challenging too, because some of the kids will have to learn how to manage their abilities to make sure they're operating
Yeah.
in benevolence. Yeah, because they've been taught to act in violence and dominance and control, and that's what
Yeah.
they wanted to do. But the thing is all you have to do is
Some of
teach
them
them
have
that
sneaked
no, you
through.
can do this a
Yeah.
different way, and
Yeah.
they feel so much better, so they'll just integrate because they are trained naturally. People like to
Yes.
feel better, so normally
Yeah.
if you just show them how to do that, they'll switch organically to the benevolent because it just feels so much better.
So good. So good.
Yeah,
It gives and the experience
yeah,
foundation of that anyway. But the way that he speaks about you guys, I mean, Susie Q's been with him from the start. You guys have known him since he was a toddler now,
yeah.
and even when I was just listening to Wayne and listening to you and being in the chat, he was with me. Sometimes I know that he's sneaked on and spoken on my behalf when I've had to leave the chat. I know that. I've been told. Not many people snitched on him, but some did. So
Right.
again, it's like, and he can hold his own in conversation with you guys, and he's smiling at the names and stuff, and absolutely recognizes, and that's part of. I'm so
Yeah.
grateful for that because that's part of what has been lost, that religion has stolen from people, is having a congregation that you grow up in that you can trust. That Theo trusts the names in this chat. He knows Gaia, he knows Trina, he knows you, and
So
that.
funny. It's like this is like the new church for us. This is where we go to share our spiritual
Yep.
teachings and share love with one another and support each other and communicate with each other and build a community of
Yeah.
friends and family. That's a beautiful thing. This is a representation of what I see so many people doing, is going into new foundations of belief through awareness that the old ways, um, they had their foundations were needed and necessary, but now it's time to go evolve past it,
We
and we're going to
congregate
do it. Yeah,
and we are commune.
yeah, we really
We get
do, and we
community.
love each other and support
We
each other.
do. Well,
Yeah,
ladies,
Yes,
we
he
went.
turned on my YouTube cast one time. I forgot about that, Elderberry. He did. He thought he would just do a quick video on my YouTube one time. It didn't go very far, but he did turn it on. People could have heard everything in my household. I think that's when Susie Q was phoning me or something, saying, "Please, you're on live. You've been live all night."
oh my gosh,
I
oh my
love
gosh,
it.
I
Hey,
love
David
it.
Barry, how you doing, brother? Good to
He's
see
like, I'm
you.
ready to do this now, Mom. Give me the camera.
He's just like,
Get
"I've
this
got something
going.
to say. I've got something to
Yeah,
say. Sit down and
yeah.
listen."
Gotta talk it, gotta
And
say
they
it.
probably really do. Like I said, I'm telling you, they will be the ones that will teach us. We will help
Yeah,
them to direct and guide the energy, but
yeah.
they will teach us how it's done. And it's so wonderful because they don't believe they know.
All right,
Oh, you just
folks,
know.
we went
I
way
love you
over,
all.
but it was worth it.
Sorry,
Yes,
I
sorry.
but
love Theo.
yeah, I do too.
He
Oh,
is a Gen Alpha. I like that.
yes, Gen
Yeah.
Alpha. Mm.
And he's
All
such a
right.
boy. He's got testosterone for days. I
Yeah,
mean, that's
that's a
about
healthy,
it.
great, wonderful thing. Oh,
Yeah.
He said
Yeah.
the other day, when I get to be 12, do I automatically hit puberty? I said,
Yeah.
well, not automatically. He said,
Not all the time.
is there anything I can eat to rush that process? Because they've been learning about it in school, of course.
Theo.
And I said, no, Theo, there's not. He said, I said, why do you want to rush it? He said, I've heard you get a bigger, and I'm going to say appendage for the show. I've heard you
Right.
get a bigger, and I want the biggest one in the classroom, Mum. Just said for any reason. He said, no, just to know I have it. That boy
Yep.
is full of alpha testosterone.
I
There's going to
love
be
it.
a balancing act there.
All right. On that, Theo, we wish you the best on whatever. Ladies, thank you all. See you next week for sure. Hey, that all right. Much
Definitely.
love to everybody. We love you all. Thank you. Thank you, Jenny. Thank you, Trina.
Thank you.
And we'll close out with that.